As a former attorney and former columnist for the Kansas City Star, Matt Keenan has had a lot to say throughout his career, but when it came to parenting teenagers, well, he really had a lot to say. Matt just released his latest book on teen parenting, Call Me Dad, Not Dude. The sequel is kind of the second installment here following his first book, which was released back in 1997, and that is a look at the cover of that one. And I love this, Call Me Dad, Not Dude. A challenge, you say, with your teenagers.
It is. Dialogue with three teenage boys is always a challenge, and I've written about those and many other topics over the last 12 years. And I'm very excited about this book. It's got 83 of my most popular columns that have been published in the Star and in a magazine in the Metro 435 South. So it's all things teens, if you will. If you have teens, particularly boys, I've been there, done that, and it's been the subject of a column, and it's likely in this book.
And what I love about it is it's all, I mean, it's obviously your columns that are always written with some humor in them, and so it's kind of this tongue-in-cheek, humorous look at raising teenagers.
I think there's so much, there are so many challenges with parents these days with teenagers. I think there's always a place for humor. And it's been my job to kind of draw those threads through life, and it's resonated with a lot of my followers. I grew up in a small town in western Kansas. There were 5 of us, and my parents were crazy about each other, and we had kind of an idyllic life. We left every day on our bikes, and my mom said, "Come home when the streetlights come on." And that kind of experience is something that so many of us remember growing up in the 60s and 70s. And I draw on that. I draw contrast to those days as a parent and raising kids today. And there's no comparison in terms of the challenges that parents face today with teens.
I love your little bits of cynicism in them as well. Like, for example, there's this column that I'd read in there where you're talking about your son had gotten the book to KU, you know, starting as a freshman, and in it had kind of this list of advice for parents. And I love the one thing where it said, set financial goals, and you're like, yeah, your son will call you when he needs money. I mean, it's stuff like that, and I think it's great for parents to read that, because I know my parents went through the same thing kind of with me. It's like, you know, this is kind of your little getaway. You can read it and, you know, secretly be cynical and, you know, kind of hate your kids a little bit for all the pressure they put on you.
Well, no, I think that I am a parent, and my wife and I are parents who are imperfect. These days, there's so much demand and challenge to be all things to all children you have, and there's not time or energy for that. And one of the things that I like to make the point to my readers is, I'm an imperfect parent. We do the best job we can. We worry about the major things in life, but a lot of the little things we let fall by the wayside, and it's okay. Now that our kids, as this columnist process has evolved, my kids now are 22, 21, 19, and 16, I have a perspective on some of these issues I didn't have when I started this process in 1999, and I draw on that. And if it's a serious topic, I will draw on expertise by others who've written in this topic, in this area of parenting, and I'll put that in my column. So there is a time for humor, there's a place for humor, and there's also a place for some cynicism when it comes to some of the conventional parenting ideas.
All right. Well, Matt Keenan, this sounds like a great book. Call Me Dad, Not Dude, the sequel.
Available at all Barnes & Noble in the Metro, and also online at Amazon and barnesandnoble.com.
Sounds great. Any parent to any teenager probably wants to grab this and read this. I will tell you, I will be giving this copy to my soon-to-be brother-in-law, who has a 13 and 15-year-old.